everyone. How you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Good. What's up, Eddie? What's
I'm all right,
happening?
man.
Awesome, awesome. Good to see you.
Thanks.
All right, we're gonna get started in about 2 minutes. Tawana, how you doing? Raper, how you doing?
Hello.
Good, how are you?
Good, good. Tawana, where you calling from? Or we're not calling, but where you from? Where you at? Oh, that's not Tawana. Hey, how you doing?
Hey, no, it's Greg. That's my wife's Zoom setup.
That's fine, fine. Where you calling out of again?
Flint, Genesee County.
Nice,
Yep.
nice. I got a couple deals there right now, a handful.
Okay.
Yep. Are you wholesaling there?
Yeah. Just kind of starting off, but yep, that's my main market.
Awesome.
Yep.
Raper, how you doing?
I'm good, how about you?
Good. You put in my 5302 Beale Drive. What was that for?
Can you, not sure. I might have just, accidentally typed something in without trying to do it. I'm on my phone.
That's all right.
Yeah.
That's my address. That's why I was wondering, which is fine.
Oh, that's weird. I don't know. I just used like the phone and like whatever came up when I put the passcode in. It just, I'm assuming it might have just came up however it came up as.
Yep, no problem. Where you calling out of?
And from Framingham, Massachusetts.
Okay, perfect. Are you wholesaling there now?
Yep, I'm starting to. I have like a couple properties that I'm looking into. Haven't really called anybody yet. Just kind of like looking around my market and seeing what comps there is, and I guess kind of see what to do, like how to do it. So I'm happy to be here.
Nice. Do you have any specific questions on the deals? So it sounds like you're driving. Are you driving around looking at houses, or are you just finding some houses that might be good wholesale deals?
So I previously was driving around, but I did have some that I looked through because I'm also like shopping for a home as well. And I did some places that are kind of like good to fix and flip. So I just looked into some of those, and I think those are the ones that I'm going to hopefully wholesale. And I'm still, like I said, still trying to get my ring around this, and yeah.
Nice. Awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thanks for everyone for coming. I appreciate it.
Can you bring back my
You-
bag with the recycle?
What's that? Oh.
Do you guys see what Corinna said in chat?
What's that?
I think Corinna said something in chat. It's pretty bad.
No, I see. Yeah. Yeah, we get that every once in a while. I don't know how to do that, but I deleted her. So does anyone have any particular questions or anything that they need help on currently
I
regarding?
just want to say one quick thing before you start. I'm going to go on my tablet for the meeting just because I don't know if you're gonna have like to share your screen and whatnot.
Whoa,
go on
Darius.
If that's okay. And then if I can disconnect and if you can add me on Zoom on from like my second call that I'm doing right now.
Okay, for sure.
Thank you. So I'm gonna hang up now and I'll wait for you to let me in.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Hey, Todd,
Yeah.
while you doing that, can I ask you a question?
Yes, you may.
All right, so you go to a house, the power's off. So do you just assume when you're factoring in the repair costs that there's going to be repair for the furnace and the electrical, or how do you handle that?
Okay, say that one more time. I'm sorry.
All right, you go to the house and the power's off, utilities are off. All right, so since you can't check that out, do you just automatically factor into your repair costs that you're gonna have to do a furnace and something for the electrical?
Yeah, if that is, so you're looking at a house that you can't get inside, is that what you're thinking?
No, I got inside, but the power is off, so I don't know if there's something going on with the electrical. Don't know if the furnace is good or bad. It doesn't look that old, but you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I would think, yeah, if it doesn't look that old, that's a good question. I mean, if I was gonna be, as an investor, and I was buying it, yeah, I would figure that it might need, if I couldn't check it out, that it might need a furnace and hot water tank.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So I know that, just so if you guys see the chats, it says Darius Carling. That was actually somebody, Tony Adrian. So he's the one that's been messing around inside the chat room. So I got rid of him. Yeah. So not sure why or how, but it is what it is. So Greg, so what are you doing? Are you driving for dollars? What type of marketing are you trying to do to get deals?
Yeah, just driving for dollars. Locally, I'm local to Flint, but just all of Genesee County. So as much as I can, Davidson, Fenton, Flushing, and just recording addresses and just trying to reach out to homeowners. Had some had a potential deal was working on, but the lady kind of backed out at the last minute, so that didn't go through. But just driving for dollars.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Why, what was the reason of why did they back out?
She changed her mind. I had a buyer set up, had a price. Initially, she was a little hesitant, so reached back out to her, and she agreed to the price. Sent over the purchase and sales agreement to her, and she got cold feet and decided not to sign. So
Did she ghost you, or did she talk to you?
Well, she ghosted me. She actually went up north for a couple of days, and when I finally got a hold of her by text, she told me she wasn't able to contact me. So I said, well, hey, did you get the purchase and sales agreement? I sent it over. All you gotta do is e-sign it. And she said, well, I'm not for sure. I said, well, hey, take your time, look it over. Let me know if there's something we got to go over. And she said, well, no, I'm not for sure, and I just rather wait. So,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Well, that's one you want to follow up with,
Mm-hmm.
and she might, just might not be a good time. You got to try to figure out, there's got to be a reason. Hopefully it's not anything you did, but or something she might have been confused on or something like that. But that's what I would suggest, is just follow up with her, see how you can help her, and even ask her, say, I know you're not ready now, but I just wanted to reach out to you, see if there's anything else I could, maybe answer for you, or how can I help you, and things like that.
Okay. Yep.
All right.
Yep.
So that's what I would suggest, and see.
Okay.
And just keep her on your follow-ups. Sounds like she wants to sell.
Yeah.
It just wasn't, something happened. I had one, I'm ready to close it, and they just said, look, I can't sell it for 3 weeks. and will not tell me why they can't close it for 3 weeks. I couldn't get it out of them. I got a feeling I don't know if you heard of CERA, CERA. They're helping people that are behind on their payments, the rent,
Yep.
and the tenants might be behind a lot of money. She might get like a $10,000 check or something. So she might want to wait till she gets that check and then she'll sell it, which I don't blame her. So stuff happens, but I got her on my follow-ups. I want to call her every week and see how I can help her. For sure. Awesome. Good stuff. What else? Anyone else have any?
Hello. Okay, so I just turned 18 and I'm basically new into wholesaling and all this. And I really, really like the wholesaling, the deals and everything. But I had a really quick question. If you're about to make your first deal, what's the best way you can get a contract?
You mean, so as a brand new wholesaler, what you should do first to get a contract?
Yes.
Yeah. I always say driving for dollars. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, that's the best way.
No, but I mean,
Right.
like after you got a deal and you better get like the property on contract, like do you have to get the contract? Do you have to write it or can you get it from somewhere else?
The contract.
Yes.
Yeah, you got to get a contract. You could get it from other wholesalers. You could call it a wholesale friendly title company and see if they have an agreement. What state are you in?
Texas.
Texas? Okay. Yeah, there's plenty of I'm sure do you have wholesale meetups?
Yes.
All right, or you can even find out who, go on Facebook and find out who the wholesalers are and what title company they like to use. Reach out to one of the title companies, tell them, you're new and you're looking to get a couple of deals on the contract. You want to go to them, when you close the deal. And if they could, if they can, send you a copy of a purchase agreement that they approve for wholesale.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Yep. And then you could use that, and then as the years goes on, or the months, you'll start. My first wholesale contract, I think I got from what's that guy's name? I want to say Elite, but it's Epic. Epic. He has a podcast, Epic something. But anyways, he's a wholesaler, and he does. He has a nice little podcast. So I got mine from his, and over the years, I got better ones, and I got a really, really good one now. Yeah. So
Perfect. Thank you.
you're welcome. Good question. All right. What other questions do we have?
Hey, Todd,
Yes, sir.
do you have any driving for dollars software that you like?
Yeah, I do, Eddie. I like Deal Machine. You could get a free trial. It's pretty reasonable. You could do postcards right from there. You could skip trace from there if you want. It keeps all your information, tells you who the owner is, if it's a company, if they live there, if they don't live there. So driving for dollars is what I use.
Thanks.
And there's other ones too. There's I know Batch Skip Tracing has one. I forget what the deal or drive something driven or something like that. I'm sure it's the same thing or close to it. Yeah, I use mine every day. Anytime I'm in the city or anytime a good tip is if you have an appointment that you're going to go to a house, either go there early. I suggest you go there early and drive the neighborhood and get some more houses or addresses on your, in that area. Do that. You could go there after the appointment. You could drive the neighborhood, and you should get a bunch of other houses. If you're a realtor, you could check the neighborhood and see what houses are selling for and drive by those houses and get your eyes on it to see what it's like and things like that. In the market here in Michigan, where I'm at, is definitely changed in the last 60 to 90 days. So when I'm pulling comps now, I'm only going up back 90 days. And a lot of times I just pulled one in Detroit, a nice house, and there's no activity in the last 90 days in the area. So I had to go 120 days. And I then, let's say that it's $40,000, 120 days ago, I got to get it cheaper because it's not 40,000 today, So that's how, and I explain that to my seller, I say, look, if I met you 4, 5, 6 months ago, I would pay the 50,000 that you're asking for the house, or I would help you sell it for 50,000 on the MLS. But there's absolutely zero activity in the last 90 days. And there's 4 houses on the market that haven't sold in 90 days. And this is the price that they're at. So I might even make offers on those particular houses a lot less because I'll probably get it. I kind of explain that to them and without being too, forceful, I'm just trying to give them information at the end of the day. Okay, DB, new to this, what is driving for dollars? Yeah, good question. So driving for dollars is when you drive a neighborhood or area that, and you look for houses that are ugly houses, they don't have any pride of ownership, they might have a bad roof, just eyesore type homes, and you write down the addresses, and you try to get 50 to 100 of them piled up, and then you skip trace them, meaning you find out who owns the house, their names, their phone numbers, if they live in the house, if they don't live in the house, and then you market it from there. You might call them. And see if they're interested in a fair cash offer, if they're looking to sell. You may even text them, email them, send them a letter, send them a postcard, knock on their door, drop off a letter, drop off a note. So there's a lot of different ways that you can go about reaching out to them. Awesome. Any other particular questions?
Yeah, I had one time.
Okay.
You were talking about, obviously the market is changing and values are dropping. So say, for instance, for your example, you didn't really find any comps. You go back, 90 days to try to find something, substantial. You can't. So do you maybe use a percentage? I know we go by condition, for the most part, but is there something where you might say, okay, I don't see any comps, so I'm going to do a certain percentage, or I know the neighborhood, so I'm going to, you know what I mean? Because how do you negotiate that down to, give yourself still a good spread for your, for the buyer?
Yeah, so a couple of things. First of all, I always ask the seller what they think the property is valued at. That's number one, because they might give you a number that, who cares what the comps might say, higher or lower, but that would work. If I don't have any comps in the neighborhood, 9 times out of 10, that means it's going to be a rental area. It's not a fix and flip area, because if there's no comps, it's not going to be a flip area. So if it's not a flip area, then you're going to go off of what the ROI is on that property, the return on investment. Okay. And I could show you guys my down and dirty quick ROI spreadsheet. Okay. So what that means is the ROI is, you know, if you sold it for, let's say $30,000 and the rent is 800 a month, and then you take out $80 a month for property management, $80 a month for repair holdback, you know, and then taxes and insurance in an area, a lower type area for rentals, I want to be around 20% ROI. Okay, 15% and higher is really the mark, but it's so easy to sell it for when you're 20% or higher. Okay. And if you guys would like to see my spreadsheet, I could show it to you. It's really simple. And I'll pull it up here.
Yeah, I definitely would like to see it.
Yeah, let me share my screen. Let me find it first. And in my I got a mentoring program. If anyone's interested in it, it's you could get access to all this, group meetings and everything about wholesaling. So
Very nice. All 1 bedrooms.
what's that? No, I think I don't know if she's talking to us. All right, let me find it real fast and then I'll share my screen. Here it is.
While you're actually pulling up the spreadsheet, I did have one question when it comes to the strategy.
Yes. Go ahead.
So when it comes to areas with low comps, are you more concerned with now if you're kind of going based off of rent as the exit strategy, are you concerned by the number of rentals in that area as well? Compared to the number of like houses or units occupied by the owners themselves?
I never even thought of that before. So I guess my answer would be no.
Okay.
Yeah. Any area could be a good rental. Some people, but the thing is, like in Flint, especially, I don't know if you know the Flint area, especially Flint, a little bit of Detroit, but not as much, but in Flint for sure, is when you you might have a great ROI. This is why it has to be a higher ROI, is because if you have a great ROI, you won't get the appreciation that you do in other neighborhoods. So you're buying it cheap. Usually got to pay cash. You can't get a loan because it's under 50,000. Sometimes you can, but you know, 5 years from now, it's not going to be worth more than what you bought it. It's more of a cash flow game than appreciation. Sometimes you might get cash flow, you might get appreciation, and you know, so that helps out. But in some cases you do, some cases you don't. So can everyone see my screen here?
Yep.
All right, so let's do an example. I had one the other day. This is what I'm working on. It was a 2-bedroom house, the one I was talking about where there's no comps in the area, okay? So if I sell it for 45,000, now remember, that includes my assignment fee. So I need to get this house for whatever less than 45,000 is my money in my pocket. So if I negotiate 30 grand, let's say I negotiate 30 grand. If I sell it for 45, I'm making $15,000, okay? The house that I was talking about is only repairs. It's less than 2,000. I'm telling you, this is a beautiful house. It's a 2-bedroom brick colonial, really nice. In today's market here, I would get $1,000, maybe a little bit more. Okay. So management fee, the property management fee is 10% of the rent. The maintenance cost is 10% of the rent. The taxes on this particular property was $70 a month. And the insurance was 50. Okay. So it's at 17.36%. To me, that doesn't excite anyone on an area that really doesn't have any comps. 6 months ago, the comps were 45 to 50, so they're actually would be paying market value. So, but if I got it for 30,000, I'm happy with a $10,000 assignment fee. Okay, now we're getting closer to 20% ROI. So it looks a lot better. And let's say I say, you know what, really, this is such a nice house. I think it needs $1,000. You know what? I think because it's such a nice house, I could go Section 8 on this thing and I could get 1,050 in rent. And now you see how you're changing, you know, you're changing it a little bit. So this would be 105 and that's 105. So we're at 21% ROI now. So I'm trying to finagle it. So I'm at 20%. There you go. 2,000 repairs, 1,050 rent. That's how I, you know, that's the cash flow. So the cash flow on this would be $720 a month, every month, after you pay taxes, insurance, hold back $100 for maintenance fee, hold back $100, you know, in case you got to do some repairs here and there. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Awesome.
So just to make sure, because you're keeping the property as a rental, so what is the because I think in traditional for the ROI, correct me if I'm wrong, you divide by the acquisition price and then the sell price. So with this one, are you using the acquisition price and then comparing that to the rent?
Yeah, so the way this, if you didn't have that sheet that I think I'm answering the question. If not, just let me know. If you don't have that sheet that I have, what you do is you take the amount of money that you're gonna pay, like say $40,000 plus 2,000 in repairs. So someone's gonna spend 42,000 if they're paying cash. Take the rent amount, potential rent amount, minus 10% for maintenance, minus 10% for repairs, minus taxes, minus insurance. Okay, so and if you do all that on a monthly basis, you're gonna get $720 a month. Take that 720, times it by 12 months, and then divide that into the 42, and that's how you're gonna get the 20% or 20.57%. Did that answer your question? Is that what you're asking?
Yes, it did. Thank you.
Okay. Yep. So you don't have to, you have a sheet like that. That just kind of makes it easy. That's it. All right. Lisa, you asked a question. Do you ever wholesale sub twos? Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. In the way I do it, personally, I call it a buy-in fee because I don't want to mess up the numbers, you know. Like I had one the other day, the guy's actually has a 3.5% interest rate, which is really good. He owes a lot of money, which is not good. It would be a great Airbnb, but he can't sell it because he just bought it a year ago. But he moved out, bought something else, whatever, you know, his problem was. And he can't flip 2 payments now or afford 2 payments now. So I said, look, what if I took over this payment? The 3, you know, I figured out what his interest rate is, figured out what his payment is. It would be a great Airbnb. I'm not into that game right now. Maybe one day, maybe not. So I know a lot of people that are. So I just throw it out there. I told them, you know, depending on, actually this particular one, I said it's a $20,000 buy-in fee. So someone pays $20,000 to me, they could step in and step in the deal to do the seller financing and take over that payment. All right. And then I might do seller financing if a house is, well, you didn't really say seller finance, you said subject to. That's the difference. If they have a loan on the house, yes. If it's If they don't have a loan, you could do seller financing, which, yes, I try to keep all those I can for myself. All right. All right, Jose Flores. I'm a real estate investor from Florida. I do business out of state. I have done a couple of JV deals with other wholesalers out of state. Awesome. I'll keep your number down. A 305 number. That's yeah, that's a Miami number, I think. Awesome. What else? We got about another 10 or 15 minutes. Any good stories out there? Any good weird deals? I had a deal today. It's going to foreclosure auction. I'll give you guys a little story, I guess. It's going to foreclosure auction in about 3 weeks. And the guy says, look, I'll take, in the state of Michigan, there's a 6-month redemption period, meaning the owner or whoever has the deed has 6 months after the auction to pay it off or sell it. Or if they do nothing, you lose it. It goes to the bank. So long story short, the guy owes a lot of money, 110,000. It's worth, 4 or 5 months ago, it was a $200,000 property. There was plenty of equity. Now it's worth about 170,000, 175 maybe. But who knows? In another 2 or 3 months, it might even be less. And it needs work. It needs about 30, depending on who does the work, it needs $25,000 to $35,000 worth of work. I walked the house, great neighborhood, great everything else. So the numbers are, if you give the guy $5,000, you're at 115. And let's say you put 30 into it, 30, now you're at 145. And then if I want to wholesale it, I got to add my fee on top. So let's say it's 10 grand, it's 155. And if you sell it for 170, it's not worth it, because after real estate holding costs and things like that, it doesn't make any sense. But so I was trying to buy it without having to pay the $110,000 mortgage. He deeds the house to me. I'm $5,000 out of pocket. I give him $5,000. Now I don't have to pay that $110,000 off until 6 months. So follow me. I got 6 months to pay that off. So I could fix up the property, sell it, and then pay off the mortgage with the proceeds of the sale. So if it costs me 25 grand to fix it, I'm only out of pocket 30,000. And I'm a realtor, so I'm going to make 3% commission. And if I make an additional $15,000, I almost made 100% of what I put out of my pocket. So it's a good return on investment. Okay, so if I make 15 grand on a deal like that, then I made 50% of what I put out of my pocket. If it cost me 30 grand, 5 grand, and 30 and 25 to fix it up, and if I make 15 total, it's still a pretty deal. It's less. It's not that risky, and it's really easy to fix this house. It needs easy stuff. Paint, wood floors. The reason why the basement needs to be waterproofed, and I got a guy that does that. He would put a system in the basement. Probably cost me 5 grand. That's the biggest problem, but we'll take care of that. So, but that's it's just a different type of deal. All right, let's see. Todd, I tried to call you a couple of times, but the call does not go through. Send me a text message. You see my number right there, Jose, 248-497-9195. A lot of times do you guys know what call rail is? I use call rail, and And REI reply is another one. That's my text message. You know, I use my campaigns. I get a lot of phone numbers. So if I don't have you locked in my phone, a lot of times I won't answer it if you call my personal cell, even though I use my personal cell. So text me, and then when we talk, I'll program you in my phone, because all my customers call certain numbers and I see it on my phone. It's coming through on a different phone number, and I could tell it's one of my buyers or one of my sellers or whoever. And then when I answer the phone, it whispers what that number, like it might say 313. That means it's an area code, 810. So it's my different campaigns I got out there. I use different phone numbers. And you know, especially my buyers, if you're on my buyers list and you call the buyer number, I'll pick up that phone, you know. All right. So a lot of times if someone calls me, I don't know them, like my team, you gotta call me right back. You're gonna get a text message 9 times out of 10, because I probably got 5 calls while I'm talking on this Zoom already. I'll just say, can't, in a meeting, text me. And if you text me, then I call you back. If not, if they don't, I won't call. You know, I probably won't call you back. One day I'll have an assistant to help me with that. I'm really bad at voicemails. Unfortunately, I'm trying to get better. Awesome. You know, Greg, the auction in Flint was today. Every Wednesday. And tomorrow's in Detroit. I'm going to be there, or in Wayne County. I'm going to be there tomorrow. Awesome. What else? Any other questions?
Hey, Todd,
Yes, sir.
if you were starting out all over again, but knowing everything you know now, what's the one thing that you would do differently?
Only one or a bunch?
Or as many as you want to give us.
Well, I wish I would have organized I'm gonna name a few things. Organize my buyers list from day one. I got it down to a science now, but I wish I had it down to a science like 3 years ago. You know, January 1st will be my 6 years in wholesaling. 6 years ago, I didn't even know what wholesaling was. Never heard of it. So that would be number one. And number two is my team organization that I have now is where I've always kind of wanted it to be. And someone taught me, actually a coach helped me with that. And not having a partner. Not having a partner is the other thing. I don't advise people to do that. Now you can always have a partner for 30 days or a JV partner, or you say, look, let's try this out for 60 days and then let's come back to it. Don't get mad at them if they want to move on or do something different, and hopefully they don't get mad at you, because it's hard to stay aligned on the same goals over a long period of time, because everyone's different. You know, someone's older, someone's younger, someone has young kids, someone has older kids, and someone has to do this, someone has to do that. So it's kind of tough to do, because whatever you don't do well at, you could hire someone a lot cheaper than having a partner that gets 50% of them. And it's not all about money, but I'm saying it's more about headache at that point. And that's just totally 100% my opinion. You know, I don't mean it's right or wrong, but I would say be careful, you know, just think about that stuff. All right, let's see. When you assign, are there clauses you put in the assignment? When you assign, like sign a subject to, or assign a any deal? Oh, I see. Someone asked that question. What type of deal? It's a sub two deal. All right, yeah. So when I sign it, I usually use, and if you heard of Pace Morby and all them, they use a specific because subject twos are very um tricky. You don't want to mess up. If you mess up and they call a mortgage due, or if you don't do it right, and if you're assigning it, you want to make sure everything's done right. So you don't have to think about that 2 years later. And, they didn't make the payment, or the people you assigned it to did something that wasn't right. So I try to have, I have like, I think they're called Constant Close. Yeah, that's who it is. Constant Close is the company. They can handle it from start to finish, because your seller definitely knows you're buying it sub to the mortgage. You could let them know that you're assigning it to this person over here, and they're going to be the ones making the payments. They're going to do this with the house. You're going to, and you could make sure they're doing well. You could always make a reminder note every 30 days, every 60 days, to reach out to see how they're doing, to see how the buyer's doing. If you have to see how you can even talk to the seller too. So I would suggest that. I had one in Flint, is my very first one. Monday, I ran an appointment. I was checking out the inside of a house, and right across the street, 3 doors down, was my first subject to property. And I didn't use anyone. I just said, look, the paperwork was like, all right, we're going to pay the mortgage, and you're going to get $50 extra a month. And we're going to do it for this long. I mean, we wrote it on a addendum type of deal, and we closed the deal, and my buyer paid me, and we got an assignment fee, and that was it. But I think they did well, because the house is off, because I was just there. The house is fixed up, new roof. So I think it went okay. I hope so. But that was like my first one. I had no idea what the hell I was doing. And so now I think we got to be a little more, when someone has a big mortgage, you gotta do it. You gotta make sure that the insurance is right, how you do it. You can't just go and put insurance, and you gotta have the mortgagee clause right. Because once you start triggering stuff, especially if someone's at the low interest rates, the 3% rate, 2%, 3.5%. Once the rates go higher, these mortgage companies might say, look, I can get this house back and get a higher interest rate. Who knows what their thinking is? Most of the time they don't call it due, but only a few times out of, I only know about 2 or 3 cases where they called it due out of my 6 years. So I know it's not a common practice, but it can be done. It can be done. Yeah, that's a good one. I'll make sure the assignment contract, let's see, is not assignable. Yeah, you could do that. Let's see. Jose, can you hear me? Can you talk?
Hey Todd, how you doing? Yes.
Okay, what's your first name? I'm sorry, the other guy's Jose.
Jose, it's Jose.
Oh, it is.
Jose Flores.
So what was I know you said I'll make sure the assignment contracts are non-assignable. Is that just any assignment contract?
I mean, I use Basis Morby assignment contract, but I mean, you can add that clause to any assignment contract.
Yeah, I got
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I mean, I just make sure that you have like a higher earnest money deposit than the seller's contract. I mean, just in case the buyer backs out, you can pay the earnest money deposit to the seller, and then you get some earnest money deposit yourself. I mean, but I mean, the non-assignable is the most important one, I think. So you don't get daisy chain, and you get like the end buyer. That is the end buyer.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. Especially, you can always save the deal if you're giving the seller you know,
Mhm.
10 grand, say, look, I know it didn't work out, but I'd like to get give me another 2, 3, 4 weeks or whatever I got. And,
Mhm.
and you say, but I'm
Yeah.
gonna give you $10,000 now because I think that's only fair and this and that. And a lot
Yeah, I
of,
mean, you can work it out with the seller. I mean, it just depends on how is the communication with the seller. But yeah, I mean, you can work it out.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
possible. Yeah. Thank you, Todd.
yeah, for sure. How do I organize my buyers list? I keep track of my buyers list using hashtags. Actually, the system I have, I could go into my system and hashtag whatever area that I'm selling a house in. So I might hashtag, let's say the city's Redford. Okay. And if it's a flip, then I'll do another hashtag flip. Like one person might have multiple hashtags. They might do buy and holds, they might do flips, they might do a bunch of areas, different counties. And then I'll pull up all of my buyers in whatever, if it's a flip in Wayne County, in Redford, um, what else might it be? And that's pretty much it. Anyone that's looking for flips will get that. I'll blast it out to, I'll email blast them and text blast them. Anyone that's in Wayne County and so anyone looking for a flip it. And the reason why, or anyone in Redford or in the surrounding areas. The reason why I do it that way, because I get a lot of Detroit, Flint type deals. And the people that don't like those areas if they see something coming over every other day in Detroit and they specifically told me they don't want Detroit, then I try not to send it to them anymore in that area because they'll jump off my buyers list. So, and I have a VA. That's all they do is help me on my sales, on my dispositions. And they're always scraping Facebook and calling my buyers and saying hi to them, checking on, seeing if they're ready to buy something. What are you looking for? We're working in what areas, and that's all they do for me. And that costs me less than $5 an hour, right? That's what my VA does. So, and that's really something I added here recently, and that has helped out a lot. All right.
Hey,
Awesome.
Todd, when you say you have the hashtags in your system, the system that you're talking about, is that Podio?
No, I use it's KV Core. As a realtor with my brokerage that I'm with, we have access to KV Core. It's a pretty good, it does all kinds of, as a realtor, it does so many marketing and all kinds of great stuff for realtors. I use it for my email blasting and my text blasting. I just, it's awesome. Yeah. So
How do you spell that?
the letter K, the letter V, Core, CORE. No,
Okay, thank you.
KV Core. Yeah. Yep. All right. I think we ran over a little bit today, but appreciate it. Sorry about people that are coming into, it seems like we're getting that a lot in the beginning. People are just doing stupid stuff inside in the beginning, but it is what it is. It don't bother me. If you want to know my address, there it is. But all right. Appreciate everyone. Let's see. One more question. You're welcome. All right. Have a great week. Yeah, feel free to text me, reach out to me, send me a birthday card if you want. But I'll see you guys next week. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks.